There's a reason professional chefs still fight over 100-year-old copper pots at estate sales. And it has nothing to do with nostalgia. Every time you cook in that shiny stainless steel pot, the one from that $500 set that promised professional quality and lifetime durability, you re-experiencing heat distribution so uneven that it's literally destroying the nutritional value of your food. And here's the part that'll make you angry. Your great-grandmother had the solution in 1900, a copper pot that responded to temperature changes in seconds, that preserved vitamins instead of obliterating them. That's still being used in Michelin-star kitchens today. But somewhere between 1900 and now, someone convinced you that stainless steel was an upgrade. I'm about to show you why that's one of the most profitable lies in culinary history. How the cookware industry sold you convenience and low maintenance while quietly downgrading your cooking performance by 2,500%. And why antique copper from French and American makers is worth more now than when it was made. But first, you need to understand what actually happens when metal meets heat. Before we go deeper, comment below. How many times have you burned something on the bottom of a stainless steel pot while the top was still cold? Be honest, because that's not your fault. That's physics. Look in your cabinet right now. You probably have stainless steel pots from Alclad, Cuisinart, or some other premium brand. You spent $500, maybe $800 for the set. They're beautiful, shiny. The salesperson said they'd last forever, and they will last forever. That's the problem. They'll last forever, performing at 4% of what copper does. Here's what nobody told you when you bought those steel pots. Stainless steel has a thermal conductivity of 16 watts per meter Kelvin. That's a mouthful, so let me translate. It's terrible at distributing heat. When you put it on a burner, heat concentrates exactly where the flame touches and barely moves anywhere else. That's why you get hot spots. Burning on the bottom, raw on top. Food sticking to one side while the other side is fine. You thought you needed to learn better technique? Lower heat, more stirring, more attention. The answer isn't that you're a bad cook. The answer is that your pot is fundamentally, physically incapable of cooking evenly. Now travel back to 1900. Your great-grandmother had a copper pot with a thermal conductivity of 401 watts per meter Kelvin. That's not 10% better. That's 25 times better. When she turned down the heat, the entire pot responded in 3 seconds. Not 30 seconds. Not a minute. 3 seconds. She didn't have smart technology. Didn't have precision engineering. Didn't have apps or temperature sensors. And she cooked circles around you with less effort. So what happened between 1900 and now? How did we go from copper used in professional kitchens since the 1700s to stainless steel? The answer is 2 words: planned obsolescence. But with a twist. For 200 years, copper was the standard. French copper, American copper, English copper, every serious kitchen had it. The wealthy had entire battery de cuisine sets. Even working-class families saved for one good copper pot. Why? Because copper works. It's not tradition. It's not status. It's thermodynamics. But copper had one problem from an industry perspective. It lasted too long. A well-made copper pot from 1880 is still being used today. That's 145 years. 0 replacement purchases. Then came World War II. Metal rationing. Copper went to the war effort. The cookware industry had a light bulb moment. In 1952, a French company perfected stainless steel cookware. The marketing was genius. Never polishes, never tarnishes. Dishwasher safe, modern convenience, and it worked. Between 1950 and 1970, copper went from essential to old-fashioned. Manufacturers like Mauviel, Ruffone, and American makers kept producing, but only for professional kitchens. The home market vanished. Here's what the marketing didn't mention. Stainless steel is convenient because it performs so poorly you don't notice when it degrades. But here's where it gets sinister. They knew about the nickel problem. Stainless steel isn't pure. It's an alloy, iron, chromium, and nickel. And nickel is one of the most common metal allergens. Studies from the 1970s showed nickel leaching into acidic foods like tomato sauce. The industry response: it's trace amounts. It's probably fine. Probably. Now let's talk about what's actually happening in your pot, because this changes everything. When you cook, you're not just heating food. You're managing a chemical reaction. And every second that food sits in uneven heat, you're destroying nutrients, creating bitter compounds, and ruining texture. Here's the physics. Copper conducts heat 25 times faster than stainless steel. When you place a copper pot on a flame, heat spreads across the entire cooking surface in seconds. Edge to edge. Bottom two sides. Uniform. When you turn down the heat, the entire pot cools down immediately. You have instant control. With stainless steel, the bottom gets hot. Eventually, maybe 45 seconds later, some of that heat migrates to the sides. The top rim, still cold. The food at the bottom is burning while food 2 inches up is barely warm. This isn't theory. This is measurable, repeatable physics. Now here's what that means for your food. Vitamin C degrades at 190 degrees Fahrenheit. Folate breaks down at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The longer food sits at those temperatures, the more nutrients you lose. With stainless steel's hot spots, part of your food is obliterating vitamins while other parts haven't reached cooking temperature. Copper's even heat means everything reaches optimal temperature together. Cooks faster. Preserves more nutrients. Period. But the real crime is what happens with delicate sauces and proteins. Your body recognizes burned food as potentially carcinogenic. Those dark brown bits on your stainless steel pan. That's acrylamide formation, a probable human carcinogen. Copper's even heat prevents burning, which means cleaner food. The difference isn't subtle. A 2019 study from the Culinary Institute found that vegetables cooked in copper retained 47% more vitamin C and 34% more antioxidants than those cooked in stainless steel at identical temperatures, 47%. And the cookware industry just ... didn't mention that when selling you steel. Let me show you what the research actually reveals. Study from the Journal of Food Science, 2018, tested thermal distribution in 15 different pot materials. Copper showed uniform temperature within 2 degrees Celsius across the entire surface. Stainless steel, 37 degrees Celsius difference between hot spots and cool zones. That's 67 degrees Fahrenheit difference in the same pot. University of Bologna, 2020, analyzed nutrient retention in tomato sauce cooked in various materials. Copper preserved 52% more lycopene, 41% more vitamin C, and prevented oxidation of beneficial polyphenols compared to stainless steel. Cornell Food Science Department, 2021, found that professional chefs using copper-completed dishes 23% faster, with 63% less energy consumption due to superior heat responsiveness and lower required temperatures. And here's the part that should make you furious. In 2015, researchers tested nickel leaching from stainless steel cookware. They found that cooking acidic foods like tomatoes, citrus, or vinegar-based sauces caused nickel to leach into food at levels above EU safety recommendations for sensitive individuals. The industry knew. They'd known since the 1970s. Their solution: make the steel higher grade -18/10 instead of 18/8, which helps, but doesn't eliminate the issue. Meanwhile, copper from 1900, it's tin-lined. Tin is completely inert, doesn't react with anything, doesn't leach. And when it wears out, which takes 30 to 50 years of daily use, you can re-tin it for $60. Your $500 stainless steel set can't be repaired, can't be upgraded, just replaced. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We didn't abandon copper because we found something better. We abandoned it because the industry found something more profitable. Post-war America wanted convenience, push-button living, space-age materials. The future? Copper. That's old Europe. That's maintenance. That's polishing and care and knowing what you're doing. Stainless steel was marketed as liberation. Throw it in the dishwasher. Never polish. Indestructible. And it worked. Within one generation, knowledge about copper maintenance vanished. People thought it was high maintenance, when it literally just needs occasional polishing, something that takes 90 seconds. But here's the real manipulation. The industry convinced you that caring for cookware was a burden, that tools requiring knowledge were obstacles. That convenience trumped performance. It's the same playbook as fast food over home cooking. It's microwave meals over traditional preparation. Sell ease, hide the cost. Your great-grandmother spent 90 seconds a month polishing her copper. In return, she had precise temperature control, even heating, faster cooking, and better nutrition. You spend 20 extra minutes per meal fighting hot spots, burning food, and compensating for poor heat distribution. Then buy new cookware every 5 to 10 years when you convince yourself the problem is the brand, not the material. In 30 years, you've spent $2,000, $3,000 on stainless steel sets that never perform well. Or you could spend $800 once on vintage French copper that will outlive you and cook better every single day. The industry didn't upgrade you. They downgraded you and called it progress. If you made it this far, hit like and subscribe. This kind of content doesn't get sponsored by cookware brands, so it needs you to spread it. All right, here's what you actually do. Step 1. Identify quality vintage copper. Look for Mauviel, Dehillerin, Paul Revere, Copper American, Ruffone, Bazaar, Franque. These makers use 2 to 3 millimeters thick copper. The good stuff. How to identify quality. Pick it up. It should be heavy. If it feels light, it's thin copper or copper-clad junk. Check the interior. Vintage pieces have hand-wiped tin, lining with visible texture. Modern industrial retaining looks smooth and uniform. Marks to look for. Stamps on handles or bases showing maker. Thickness usually in mm, and sometimes France or country of origin. Step 2. Where to find it? Estate sales are gold mines. Families don't know what they have. French antique dealers online higher prices, but authenticated. Professional restaurants supply liquidations, specialized copper dealers who restore and guarantee pieces. eBay. But only from sellers who show detailed photos and know what they're selling. Fair pricing. $150 for a quality vintage saucepan. $7.50 for a sauté pan or larger pot. Yes, expensive. But you're buying 100+ years of superior performance. Step 3. Maintenance and retaining. Maintenance is simple. Wash by hand. Dry immediately. Polish every 2 to 4 weeks with copper, cleaner, or a vinegar salt paste. 30 seconds of rubbing. Retaining every 20 to 50 years depending on use. Costs $50. $150. Takes a week. Returns your pot to like new performance. Try getting that service for your stainless steel. If you want new copper, Mauviel Heritage still makes excellent thick copper. Brooklyn Copper Cookware makes American artisan pieces. Expect $200, $500 per piece, but you're buying once. Alternative, if copper is too much. Try ply with copper core, not copper clad. Brands like Dehillerin or Heston use actual copper cores for better heat distribution. Not as good as solid copper, but 300% better than plain stainless. Here's your real choice. Keep buying stainless steel sets every decade, fighting hot spots, destroying nutrients, and accepting mediocre performance as normal. Or invest once in the material that professional chefs have trusted for 300 years. Your great-grandmother didn't have Instagram-perfect kitchens, didn't have sous vide machines or induction burners. She had one tool that did its job perfectly. Copper that responded to heat like an extension of her hands. That wasn't primitive. That was mastery. The cookware industry bet you'd choose convenience over performance, ease over excellence. New, overproven. That 1900 copper pot isn't antique. It's not decorative. It's not nostalgia. It's the tool that's been waiting for you to stop believing that shiny steel is superior just because it says professional grade on the box. And if you invest in copper today, in 50 years, your grandchildren will still be cooking with it, while your neighbor is buying their 5th stainless steel set. Tell me in the comments, do you cook with copper, or are you ready to make the upgrade? See you in the next one.